Hello guys, this is Dr. Leor Barrell and this is episode 2. Okay, so we're going to go right into this. This is going to be about a 3-day print altogether about. So we're going to put the filament in right now. As always, I'm not endorsing them, but they have the cheapest filament that I would say is great in comparison, to the big markets. And they're really, really good. And I highly recommend them. But if you guys know any other ones that are cheaper, that yield the same results as the expensive ones, like this one does, and it's cheaper than this, please let me know down below, because I'm always looking to save money on filament and, so I could build more stuff for you guys. So anyways, we're going to build the Starkiller helmet. Now, I'm saying this goes for every helmet, okay? So I'm showing you the beginning to end so you guys could know, pretty much this goes well for all helmets. So like I told you how to set it up and how to look at it. I don't like to continue stop print because I got to be there and then replace it. And if I'm going to work or whatever on a 3-day print, I can't, even though this thing gives you, time readings, it's never accurate. At least to me it isn't. It always goes an hour later, an hour there. So I can't really hone in or, plan on when to do it and when to replace it and when to be there so I can replace with the other, spool. So I like setting it up in a 1-day print. Now, obviously, if you can't do it in pieces, as I told you guys, and then just glue them together, I just don't want to work with Bondo and any of that garbage. I like to just do, it's not garbage, it's good stuff, but I live in an apartment. I don't really have open spaces to try things. I have my balcony, but I don't want to, I think Bondo just really stinks and my neighbors would complain or something would happen. I just rather keep it on a minimal and, just do with my spray cans that smell horrible too. But it's at least, you can tolerate it. So anyways, that's my advice to you. If you want to do it in pieces, you can do it in pieces. If you have a 300 by 300 by 400, you should be able to do it all in a day. Depends how big your head is. My head is extremely huge. I don't know if it comes out like that, but it's really big. So because of that, I tend to even go a little bit bigger, but I make these things. So I'll show you now from beginning to end, as I said. So now we're going to open it and just hear the beauty of this. Oh, it's just like the sound of the beginning for me. So we're going to go right into this, and I'm going to show you. So I'm going to put this right into the printer, and I'm going to pretty much show you, obviously not the whole thing, but like, how it's printing in the beginning and in the middle, how it looks, and then finally in the end, I'm going to show you how the results look. Okay, so you guys are fully aware of it. So I'm just going to open this up and start ASAP right now, so we're not going to, dilly-dally. But definitely all episodes, it's a mini-series, so tune in. I'm going to show you from beginning to end what I do, how I do these helmets and ready them up for Comic-Con. All right, so comes obviously with this thing here. Now what you do is definitely get yourself one of these. Very, very important, because as soon as you do that, just go to the tip and just cut like at an angle. I'm going to show you right now what I'm talking about too. And this thing is stuck a little bit too much. I had this, believe it or not, spool for maybe about a good 8 months probably. Yeah. So you don't want to waste too much filament and go like in the middle like some idiots are showing you out there. Don't do that. Just go to the beginning of it right here. I don't know why they do that. And you just go at it like this. You twist it because you're gonna want it to have like a tooth. You know what I mean? Here we go. Let me just go to the tip, because again, you don't want to waste it. I know some people go all the way to here. I have no idea why they do that. Remember, because a helmet is most likely going to be a full... Oh, sorry, let me get a full spool. Let me get that in. Oh, I just lost that sucker. Here we go. All right, so I just want to show you how the edge looks, so you guys are prepared for it. Let me go here. Oh, this is a nightmare. Oh, yeah. So it comes out, you see, just like an edgy type thing. Oh, it's just coming out blurry. You gotta take my word for it, trust me. It's just too tiny to focus on. But it's just like an edge, you'll see it. It's not perfectly even because you're twisting it. And that's what you want to do, because that's how it's going to go in very, very well and start feeding and it's just going to go down really, really well. I can't tell you, I can't stress it enough that everybody should do that. I know some people I've seen, like my friends, they go right into it and yield good results too, but trust me, with this, you won't have any issue. So let's get to it. Now, the first thing you want to do, okay, is you want to first make sure you clean your entire nozzle and everything. You clean the insides, and I show you guys how to do that in the previous episode. Be sure to look back how to do that, because you want to make sure you are completely clean. You're not mixing any other filaments together. You're sticking to the black, you're sticking to the white, whatever you got. But also you want to make sure there's no other filament there, because it could do some obstruction and cause a lot of issues. Okay, that is the number one thing you do first and foremost. Okay, no matter what you work with, ABS, PLA, doesn't make a difference. Be sure to check that video out. I'm going to leave it in the end of this video. You're going to see it on the, what do you call it? On the, whatever, the suggestions or whatever. I'm going to put it inside the video in the end so you guys can see exactly what's what. So the second thing you guys got to do is you got to level the bed. So you go into your settings, you go right to auto home, and then you're going to do a bed leveling. I'm putting the light on right here. So you're going to call me ghetto, but I use a Metro card to do it, and only because of one reason. I don't like business cards. They're not as thin as this. This is more thinner. Even though business cards you could use, but since this is even more thin, you have better kind of distance. I don't know, I get good results with the Metro card, but you can use it with pretty much anything. You can get also, like, you know, these regular, I don't know, a sheet of paper you could do it with, which is even thinner than this or whatever. But try to get it something thin, and then do it. So you do the, give me 1 sec. Sorry, got cut off here. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to home it. Once it's at home, you shut it off, because you want all the, you could also disable the motors, but I just shut it off. I put the filament all the way up to here, and I'm not going all the way down, and that's for good reason, and I'll tell you why in a moment. So then what you do is you pull it here, okay? You go to every corner, you put this underneath, okay? And as you can see, I have good, and you see there's a little friction. You don't want too much, because if you do too much, you're going to clog it. Okay, you will clog it because it's too close. But you just want a little feel of friction. Then you go, what I like doing really is to go across in an X pattern. Okay, I tend to get it better that way in terms of getting the middle and the end correct. So you see I got good friction here. I probably want to dial that down a little bit more. Only because that friction is a little bit harder than the other ones. This is good. Perfect. So I just got to do this in the friction. So you want to do it in an X pattern. Okay? So, see, this one has a little rough. So I'm going to need to do this side and level it just a bit. And then what happens is, in the end, you go all the way to the middle, and you want to make sure you get a good, see, this is way too much friction, but it's still good. You see, so you just want to loosen that up and get perfectly all around the same kind of friction, and you're going to have a perfect leveled bed. Now, like I was saying, you want to start it off. You want to put the filament all the way up to here first. Then what you're going to do is you're going to heat that baby up. You're going to get it ready, prime it up for like about 185, but then you want to take it to 205. Go to the control, go to 205. Again, it depends on what filament you're using. I'm using it by Ziltech. So what I find, Ziltech's filament, it heats up, if you heat it up to 205, you get the best results. Then you go to 205 on this sucker. Also set your prints on 205. After it reaches 205, make sure that, you start off, first of all, you're going to start off the print with this all the way to the side, and you're going to raise it up, right? So once you raise it up, make sure that you push in the filament just a little bit, just to have a little ooze, see how it's coming down. If it's coming down great, that's great. You just want it to already get primed. You get it, already have a little bit of ink there, a little bit of the plastic. And then what's going to happen is it's obviously going to wipe it off here and then go to work. And you're going to see it's already going to be doing perfect, a perfect first layer and so on and so forth. Now, you'll be the judge how the first layer comes out. You'll see how it is. I say wait about maybe 20, 30 minutes before making a decision on whether it's correct or not. So, guys, here we are. Look at that. That's the first layer. Really beautiful. I mean, if you could see, extremely even. Even though I have bumps and all these bruises from the other print that I haven't taken out. You can see it doesn't affect the print one bit. This is PLA, of course. And as you can see, perfectly even. So, somewhere in the end of the day, I'm going to show you an updated thing to see how it looks, thus far. But this is how big this thing is. So I actually have room over here, you would think, but I don't, because the thing is going to go a little bit on the out. So you're going to see it's a perfect outline right here. Looks incredible. Actually, I'm extremely stunned. And I love how it lays it down. And this is a 0.4, right? So, nozzle. So, I mean, this is incredible. And you could see, based on my settings, and now I want you guys to follow the settings that I had on my Simplify 3D settings that I show you how to do, what to set it on. And you'll see how perfect this thing comes out. And you can see it's just clearly perfect in every way. I have the heat bed set to 60, but with PLA you really don't need heat. But I just find it always like as a just to, make sure it's all going to go down well. 60 is not going to make much of a difference, also because of the glass bed over here that goes on top of the metal. So it's not really 60, I would say. If you actually take the temperature of the glass itself, it's much lower than that. But just to be on the safe side. Now, if you're paying electricity or whatever, you don't really need to do that. Just pull out, just take the, disable the heat and you'll be fine. But you could see clearly, beautiful lining. So we'll get right back to it. Okay, guys, so right now we could see actually that everything is perfect. And this is the stage where you kind of tell yourself, okay, let me do some searches around. If everything looks like it's stuck and everything is good and everything looks great, even with the raft, as you can see all around. I like using rafts. You don't have to. I only use rafts for helmets. I don't use it for anything else. But as you can see, once you reach this level, you could pretty much set it and forget it, okay? Like pretty much just let it do its job and check in on it. You could go to work, come back, and see it then, and be confident that most likely your print will be perfect. As long as, everything is in play here. The good settings, the cleaned out nozzle and cleaned out system, and the proper leveling. Then you could be really confident that you're going to get a good, good layers going on from here on in. Okay, so we're going to check back in another, when I get back from work, I would say about 8 hours plus about 10 hours later. So here we are. Oh, wow. How did it change? How did it change into white? Well, and into starting point here. Well, you're not going to believe this, but we actually had a power outage in all of my area. And because of that, unfortunately, I wish that 3D printers had the technology where you can continue. And it really ticked me off that we couldn't do that. So it really, really pissed me off. And basically, that whole thing that I did that was almost in completion ended up dying, which is really, really sad. And now we got to start all over again. So this is where we are right now. So as you can see, still, I didn't level it because I did such a good job leveling it in the first place. I just took out, the whole thing, carefully. And now here we go. It's doing the leveling and everything is great and back to normal. But now we have to start from scratch. This goes to show how, how in infancy stages these 3D printers are. So like exactly when it stops, you're kind of screwed because the second it stops, if anything happens, any problem, let's say something out of whack, anything, it's not going to detect that at all. And even those ones that have detection where you run out of filament and then you start and press put in new filament and press it in. I always saw there were certain gaps, certain issues. That's the problem we're living in right now. It's still in infancy stages, so anything happens, there's no continuation. That's the unfortunate part, because you're away. If you're there, you could probably press. You can't press actually anything, because the second you restart, it's pretty much done. The whole thing shut down, so there's not even any continuation in that point, which is pretty sad. So now I got to do all of this crap all over again. So we'll get to it exactly when it's over.
I'll show it to you in its complete stages, because it pretty much looks exactly like the black one as it builds. As you see, everything has good adhesion, just like the black one did. So we're just going to build it all the way up. I didn't want to waste another black roll. I only have one, and I have over like 20 of the white ones, so I want to use them up. So, you know, I usually would use for silver, which I wanted to make it shiny silver. But then, you know, I started having a little bit of regrets. I also made it bigger than I wanted to, and did some modifications to it also. But it's going to be good because I'm going to probably use hammered anyway, hammered silver. So it's going to look like hammered metal, and I think that's what I'm going to use, and probably wear it down a little bit, you know, make it look like it's worn out or something like that. So white is not bad, and besides, we're going to paint it anyway, so who cares? But I really would have wanted it in a black because it looks just good right off the print bed. But, you know, whatever is ever. It is what it is, but I'm going to show you from beginning to end every little thing what I do. So right now we're about a day and couple of hours down, and as you can see, same thing like before, very solid construction. Just too bad the other one had an outing, but just to, you know, to show you guys that anything could happen. But right here we're starting with the white, and as you can see, I set the infill this time. I spread them out a little more. So it cost a little bit more than the filament that I wanted. Usually I like to make my helmets about 20 to 30 on infill. But I made it on 10 this time. So as you can see, the honeycomb is extremely large on this. But still, with the resin and everything, it should be perfect. You know, when you put liquid fiberglass or resin or whatever, liquid resin, it's going to, you know, smooth out edges and stuff. But it's also going to make, you know, it's going to make it stronger. So we're going to see how that works all together, all in one. Now, as you can see, just like the black one, the circle over here comes out looking a little weird, but trust me, it's good. It's powder here. Don't think it's black spots. But you can kind of see that there's you can kind of see through it when you have white. You could see through it when you put light on it. You see that, how you see right through it? But obviously it doesn't matter because you're going to paint it anyway. Like I said, I usually prefer doing it all in black, but right now I'm out of black. So we're going to go to the whites. But as always, clean always the nozzle and, you know, the inside, as I showed you in the other one. And then you're going to produce great results right here. You know, just like the other episode like I was showing you guys. So we're going to see it once it's complete, because you guys already were on the journey with me with the black one, so it's pretty much the same. So we're going to see how it looks, except this time it is 10, and I modified it a little bit more, making it, as you can see, a little bit thicker on the ends right here. But I still made the infill on 10, so I think it's going to be the same, but it doesn't really matter, like I said. So just to let you guys know, so a little thicker I made it in certain areas. I did spread out the ears a little bit more. But it's about making any helmet, you know, so you could choose any helmet you want and print it. Just make sure you clean everything. And as you see, even though I made the infill on the supports extremely weak, I still, you know, it's still holding up extremely well, as I showed you guys what to do. Also, I am going to say, I forgot to tell you guys, I do, for helmets only, I use beds. Now, some of you guys might not need, like a raft, whatever. Some of you guys might not need a raft or whatever, I don't know. But to me, I get the best results with a raft when it comes to head shapes, like giant head shapes, not small ones. So if I print anything else, I usually don't use a raft. But I always use a raft when it comes to doing helmets. It's just a staple for me. I get good results all the time. I don't need it because the bed is leveled either way. But it just, I think it helps the adhesion and it helps the supports a little bit more on the model itself. So I like it. I just like it better that way. Now again, you could use it without, but I recommend using it when you're doing helmets. Guys, okay, so right now we're about 2 days in right now. And I could say confidently we're about 50% done. It looks pretty good right now, as you can see. Same thing, no striations as before. Very minimal, at least, only when the light's on it, just a bit. But no, what I mean by striations is there's no gaps or no anything like that. I mean, everything that you see here is pretty much solid. Looks extremely well. Now, obviously, in white, you could see through it. And you're going to see through it. You see right there. I don't know if you guys could see, but let me go a little deeper. You could see through it in the You see just like the honeycomb right here. Now this is the first time, I'm not kidding, that I've ever used 10 on infill. Now the reason why is I want to see first if it's durable, because obviously I'm going to be putting, and you could see right there already like how thick it is. So it is going to be durable, I believe. But also when you're putting liquid fiberglass or you know, resin or whatever in it, which I'm going to be putting, I'm going to show you guys what I put inside. A very nice compound actually that I got, and I really recommend using them, and I'll show you guys in the next episode. But you're gonna see that you could get away with this. I never did it. I always use about 20 to 40. I even like 30 as my minimum for helmets, but you know, 20 is also a very good minimum. But since I wanted to do this all in one, you know, spool, I wanted to make sure I could get it. And obviously when I started working with it, like I told you, there were some mods I wanted to do. I wanted to make things a little thicker. Like here I made it thicker than before. Here I made it a little bit thicker. So I wanted to, you know, add a little bit of girth in certain places and also change a little bit of things. As you can see, the ear part, I pushed a little away, made it smaller than it was before. So, you know, a lot to take into consideration. Also made it a bit bigger. So it would take more, you know, about maybe 2 spools to pull that off, a spool and a half or a spool and a quarter. But I didn't want to be there to pause the print and then risk screwing it up. As you can do, as I showed you before, you can pause the print. But again, you have to be there in order to detect it. You know, like even if there was such a thing as a detector, which there is, it doesn't exactly pause the print at a perfect time and, you know, puts all the temperatures and everything together. You're going to be wasting a lot of electric too by the time you get back from work or whatever. You don't want to. You want to make sure that you can just leave it on and just let it go all the way. Now there's obviously a negative in this, as you guys saw, that, you know, the power side, if it dies, which rarely ever happens, but it happened during now. You know, there's nothing you could do about it. But in this situation, you know, to make it all in one, you just have to work with the infill settings and all of that. So I set the infill to 10, and we're going to see if I'm going to regret it or not. But so far, everything is coming out, as you can see, beautiful. Really beautiful. Even this one right here, the supports, I really put it on low, as you guys saw, and still it maintains its, you know, strength. I mean, it's just amazing. As in the other model, obviously. Also, in our other, you know, it didn't just switch colors like this. I had to do it again only because there was a power outage. Like I said, guys, anything could happen. You know, and these things are still in its infancy stages, so it can't just stop, shut off, and then continue when you turn it back on or get power on. Apparently, we had a power outage over here, so the whole thing pretty much died, and I lost everything. You know, I just have to, you know, there is a way that you could recover it, but I didn't want to deal with striations and all of that stuff. I mean, right now, I just said, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to make another one, and that's it. So I built it again, and the same exact thing, just cleaned the nozzle out like I showed you. And then as you can see, this thing is rock hard. Even though I made really little infill on the supports, this thing is rock hard. Now normally I would tear it off as I usually do, but I'm gonna tell you the best thing to do is to be really careful with this, to remove them slowly and get them out of the build plate. Okay, so I just gotta say this, I made a different modification. As you can see, I spread them out a little more, made it bigger, and thickened up a little bit on this side, and then went up on a curve to be a little bit thinner. So I did a little remix from the actual model. I had to do some stuff. Also, I did some other modifications, but it doesn't matter. It works like that for everything. But this is the first time ever I have used 10 on infill on a helmet. I usually use 20 to 30, as I told you guys before. I never use 10, and I never use white. I like to use black usually, but, you know, white, for the colors, but since I'm using silver, it doesn't really matter. But this that you're seeing through, this is just, you could see through it, because it's white. But it is solid, as you can see, very, very tough material, and it's ready to go on PLA, so I'm not really that worried. Obviously, some zitting going around here. There's like no striations at all. I mean, what you're seeing here is just the see-through, but everything is pretty much clean, as you can see, from everywhere. The only striations is going up and down, which is perfect. Either way, you're going to need to obviously sand it, because all the helmets I do it upside down, as I told you guys, and it does leave a little bit of you know, things to sand off. But everything else is pretty cool, and I'm going to be taking it out right now. I'm just going to remove these things right here so I could show you guys how it looks from the front. Hello guys, so this is how it looks with the supports and everything on. I just put a spatula through it and took it all out at once. As you can see, this is all the supports. Now, in the next episode, I'm going to show you what tools I use and how we're going to be taking them out slowly. But as you can see, everything came out perfect. Granted, this thing is 10. So, because it's a 10 infill, I am going to use resin on it to strengthen this baby up. Again, I do all my helmets at 20. I just wanted to do it in one sitting, and this is for my personal collection. I'm not, doing anything with it. If I'm selling it, I would design it totally from beginning to end by myself, not remix it or anything like that, as I give all credit to the actual designer of this, who did an amazing job. I just needed to do a little bit of modifications to it, but everything else he did perfect. Just some thickening in certain areas I would have liked that he would have came out with, but he was the only one that did Starkiller, to be honest with you. The other ones were kind of lame. He's amazing. All of his work is just incredible. So to be able to print it and to make sure everything comes out perfect, I had to go through Mesh Mixer and do a couple of things, but you could just print it right off the bat. I just needed modifications because I have an unusually sized big ass head. But also there were some things that I needed tough. You don't really necessarily need it. And some things that I redesigned that I wanted to make a little accurate, whatever. But it looks incredible the way it is just right out of it. But as you can see, really cool. So we're going to go right into the next episode after this. And the next episode, we're going to go over what I use to remove these things. And yes, you need to be extremely careful, especially when you do 10 infill, when you want to do it all in one sitting. You obviously could do it in pieces and then Gorilla Glue it and use Bondo or even wet sanding. Some people get away with it with putty. They do it. I don't like doing that. I like doing it all in one, so it's seamless without the need of extra work. Obviously, I'm going to need to be a little bit more careful on this side using the big sander, but I'm going to use the other sanders that are going to be cool. So right now, the next episode we're going to do is how do you remove and what tools do I use to remove all of the infill. Okay, and afterwards I'm going to show you how it is. And then the next episode following that, because yes, it is that extensive, is the sanding part. Okay, so tune in, and definitely, as always, it's all self-funded. The only thing I ask that you do is that you support this page by liking, subscribing definitely, and hitting the bell button, as every time a new episode will be released in this mini-series, you will be alerted. Plus, I cover a whole array of things in general in my videos, from tech reviews to everything else. So let me know what you guys think. Have a good one, y'all. Take care. Bye. As always, guys, if you like what you see, self-funded here, be sure to check out all my other stuff, from mini-series to unboxings to technology, and Nintendo reviews and 3D printer reviews and all that good stuff. If you like what you see, the only way you can help the channel is by liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that bell button, as many more cool videos to come. Definitely want you guys in it, and I want you guys to be vocal. Definitely comment down below. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Have a good one, y'all. Take care. Bye.